All right, good morning. So we're going to take a look at an intermediate algebra problem, specifically a mixing problem. So we'll go ahead and do that. First thing I'm going to do is say share my screen, but say welcome to the video, and we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so sharing. Okay, we're going to look at that. We don't need to see this. All right, so here we go. So the problem I have for us today here is we have a jar of face cream contains 18% moisturizer. The other one contains 25% moisturizer. How many ounces of each should be combined to get 14 ounces that contain 21% moisturizer? So we're going to write some stuff down here. So the first thing I'm going to do is the first moisturizer. Okay, Iser one, I'm just going to put a little 18% right here, and we're going to say ounces. Okay. So the first thing you should do when you're dealing with a word problem is you should define your variables. Okay. This has a couple of things. So when you go back to start looking at your problem, I can't spell moisturizer. Two, this was, how much was this one? This was 25%. Okay. And again, we're going to write down ounces so that I know that we have ounces upon ounces. So you should always go ahead and define your variables, tell me what units things are in, and that will help you kind of go back to the problem later and look at it. It's like, what the heck was I doing with this? The other thing it does, and this is going to look, have you look at me in a way, but it stalls a little bit. So if somebody like throws a problem at me, I'm like, here, solve this. Like, let me write down some stuff to kind of figure out where I am in the problem, what I'm trying to do. As I'm writing this down, my mind is thinking like, hey, how do I want to solve this thing and figure out what's going to happen with that? So it gives you a little bit of time to think, but you're doing something productive because this is a good step to have. But it may not seem like it, but it is a good productive step so that when you go back or when somebody else reads this, they can say, oh, what are you doing? So define your variables, write them down so that it looks like you're doing like a professional job here. Okay. So handwriting notwithstanding. All right. So that's the first. And it stalls a little bit just so you can say, what am I going to be looking at here? So for these kinds of problems, I've done a lot of mixing problems. We're going to say that moisturizer A plus moisturizer B. How much moisturizer do we want at the end here? We could say, go back to this. We could say, oh, we need to get 14 ounces of this stuff. Okay, so that's one of the equations they're going to have. So I think the way they set you up in the book is they kind of make a little box, which is great. I'm going to go ahead and make a little box. I'm going to say we have A, we have B, we have a total of 14. Okay, that's our ounces. Okay, then the next thing I'm going to do is just write down the weight, like how much of the stuff is in each moisturizer. Okay. Oops, I don't want to do that. I want to copy everything. So we're going to say, or the face cream rather. So we're going to say one has 18%, the other has 25%. Okay, so one has 18%, the other has 25%. And then what is the last one having? Okay, what is the total we want? The total we want to be 21%. Okay, so this is just going to be 21%. Don't forget these are percents. Don't forget you have to change the decimal place because that makes things a little bit better for us. And then the last thing is that we have to go ahead and we have to multiply the first and the second row to each other to see what's actually going to happen here. Okay. So we're going to say 0.18a, 0.25b. And what we're going to do is we're going to say 0.21 times 14 and see what happens here. So let's see here. We have 0.21 times 14. And I've just got, this kind of a calculator right here. Okay. So we've got this going on. So we have again, 0.21 times 14 equals. And I got, so I'll check this 0.21 times 14 equals, and I got 2.94. 2.94 here. Okay, so that's what we're going to go ahead and figure out what we have to do next. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to write down our two equations. So I'm going to say we have A plus B is equal to 14. Next equation, 0.18a plus 0.25b equals 2.94. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to multiply. So you have to do a little bit of an inventory here. I think I have two equations. I have two unknowns. Check to make sure those are the same. All right. So if you didn't get the same, we have to go back to the beginning and kind of figure out like what other equation did I have here in order to make sure that we've got everything. But go ahead and double check what's happening. Now, I'm gonna choose to do elimination on this one because that's the way I like to do these problems. Okay, you can do substitution, that's fine. I like elimination, I think it's faster. So we're gonna multiply the first equation by negative 0.18. Okay, so we're gonna say this is negative 0.18a minus 0.18b. Just multiplying this 0.18 times everybody here. Okay, so we're gonna say this is going to be 14 times 0.18 equals, and okay, 14 times 0.18. Okay, and I got 2.52, so equals negative 2.52 here. Okay, that's just multiplying all of that stuff out, right? The next equation we had, I'm just going to write down the second equation by itself. Okay, plus 0.25b is equal to 2.94. And we're going to add these because I wanted to do elimination. The whole point out is that the a's go away. I've got 0.25 minus 0.18. I believe this is going to be 0.07b equals. And now I have to take 2.94 minus 2.52. Okay, and I got 0.42 here. Okay, we got 0.42 here. All right, let's say 0.07 to be proper. And then the last thing we're going to do is divide by 0.07, divide by 0.07. B equals, we have 0.42 divided by 0.07 equals, and I got 6. B is equal to 6. That strikes me as a completely reasonable type of a problem. What I'm looking for is, did I get a negative number? If I did, I screwed something up. Check your arithmetic. Did I get a number that's bigger than 14? If I did, check your arithmetic. Okay, so there's things that I want to make sure that I have here. And then we're going to go back to this first equation where I'm going to say a plus b equals 14. B is 6. So a plus 6 equals 14. And we're going to say a is equal to 14 minus 6. A is equal to 8. So I know for face cream 1, we have 8 ounces. For face cream B, we have 6 ounces. That's going to give us the appropriate amounts that we have here. It's also going to add up to 14. That's how you should do a homework problem like this, okay? So you go through and you work it out on paper and we're going to do this. I'm going to stop the video here so you actually will watch it, and we'll talk to you in the email after we're done with this, okay? You say stop share, say end recording, done.